Hello, everyone. This is Waldorf,
And this is Statler
and today we're going to talk about the Beast Herds Army Book
for version 2.0, our first book review.
2.0 beta.
I guess it's our second book review.
This is our second.
Yeah, we did Orcs and Goblins, right?
Did that count? It was a pre-release.
It's a pre-release,
Orcs and
that's
Goblins.
true. So we're going to have to go do them over again.
This is for the second edition beta version 0.201.0.
Right, that point zero is important.
0.0. He's average in a movie I saw.
There you go.
Anyway,
So we still have our 3 heads with 2 eyes and 2 horns.
we do. At least 2 heads, 2 eyes, and 2 horns that you can see.
That's true.
There's a duality thing going there. Anyway, army model rules. We have the universal rules, where they come up with pack tactics. When rolling to charge, if a unit has more than half its front facing in the charged unit's flank or rear arc, then models in this unit with this rule gain swift stride for the charge range. Does not apply to pursuit and overrun moves.
It's a flavorful rule.
It is. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
It's a nice little rule. It's cost me a game once,
Yeah.
at least once.
And we have the next rule, Drunkard. A unit with this rule may gain one of 2 different sets of effects depending on whether it shows up sober or drunk on the battlefield. At step 8 of the pregame sequence, after spell selection, the player may choose whether a drunkard
No, the player must
choose. I'm sorry. Whether
The
a
word
drunkard
may is no longer in
that's
the
true.
rules.
They don't use the word may here. They choose whether a drunkard unit is sober or drunk. Well, drunkards always prefer to be drunk.
They do.
Drunk characters cannot join units containing any sober models and vice versa. Models without drunkard are considered neither drunk nor, I guess, sober.
Correct.
Or nor whatever.
Or.
There's an or. They do have the
Neither.
word. They do have the or.
What's that? Oh, well, this is an army book,
That's true.
Or
That's
exists
true.
in army
Or
books.
exists in army books. Yes.
not in Magic Paths.
So first we have sober. A sober model gains Vanguard and light troops. A unit that has been sober once loses scoring for the rest of the game. If playing capture the flag, scoring is not lost. So they can't just all of a sudden run out of guys that are scoring for the
Exactly.
purpose of that.
We're not
that
scoring
scenario.
anymore. You get no points.
Yeah. A drunk model gains fearless and devastating charge, +1 strength AP. Drunk units cannot ambush.
They get lost.
Get lost. So I never had any. It's basically the same rule. They just
Yeah.
added the clarification on the capture the flags. Once again, it's flavorful for the army. That never really bothered me.
It is. And looted booze is one use only. Can be activated at the start of any player turn. All modeled with drunkard change from sober to drunk.
Yes.
So you can start sober or go to drunk.
Right. So you can start as fast cavalry vanguard, move where you need to, then get
And-
drunk and fearless charge them.
Get your looted
Yeah.
booze. No more half horse.
Half horse because they've reclassified everybody. Brings us to attack attributes. Primal Instinct. Sounds a lot like Primal Fury.
Does.
Melee. At the start of each round of combat, each unit with 1 or more model parts with this attack attribute must take a discipline test. If the unit has frenzy, it does not suffer the -2 discipline modifier for frenzy when taking this discipline test. So of course not.
What are you saying? That would be a negative?
That'd be a negative for beast herds. If the test is passed, all model parts with primal instinct in the unit must re-roll fail to hit rolls during this round of combat.
Must.
Yeah, must. Sorry. It's one of the rules I wish they'd get rid of. They've gotten rid of almost all
Primal
the other
instinct.
re-rolls for
I-
armies.
I've always said primal instinct. I don't mind it being in the army. I just think it should be a straight roll on your leadership with no general BSB bonus.
Yeah, that'd be fine. It's just
That would bring it back down to reasonable.
it's just so easy to get. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm going to have a beast herds army, I think this is a fine rule.
There you
There's
go.
nothing wrong
You
with
can
it.
have your green beast herds.
I'm
You
going
start playing.
to use my army as beast herds.
Yes.
Weapons. They have the Beast Axe, which is a melee weapon. Attacks made with this weapon gain +1 strength, +1 armor, period penetration, and always strike at initiative step 0, regardless of agility. The wielder gains +2 defensive skill unless using another weapon. Oh, I guess just carrying this around doesn't help you.
Yeah.
This weapon cannot be enchanted with weapon enchantments from the common special equipment section. So you can't bump this with anything in the main rulebook.
Maybe we'll only the Beast Herds one.
Yep. And Soothsayer's Staff.
I'm not a fan of the weapon myself, but
The Beast X.
yes.
Yeah. Anyway. It's weird. It's, anyway.
It's initiative 0.
It's initiative 0, so it's a great weapon.
Yeah, they don't
Except you only get +1 strength.
right, but you get
Instead of 2.
some
But you get
defensive
+2
skill.
defensive skill, which may or may not make a difference.
Yeah.
It brings us to totems. What do totems do?
Totems.
Totems.
You usually find them in reservations and
Yep, you can.
yes. Totems are upgrades that certain beast herds, characters, and champions may take. Each totem contains one or more totem bound spells with power level 4/8. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't give them a boost. With the duration lasts one
What,
turn.
like an 8/10?
Yeah, to fit with the other parts. That can be cast by their bearer.
You seem to be biased.
Yeah, I am. List of totems. The first totem, the gnarled hide totem. The target gains +1 armor and distracting. Oh, what Sylvan Elves wouldn't give for that distracting ability.
+1 armor would make you guys unbeatable.
Yeah, now it would be like 6s and 5s, but the distracting is...
Yeah.
I was seeing some comments about how it would be too powerful for Sylvan Elves. The Bloodhorn totem. The target gains +1 attack value, and their close combat attacks gain +2 armor penetration. So +1 attack. And you get carved through armor. Okay.
Yep.
Clouded Eye totem. A unit with all models affected by the spell gains hard target and magic resistance 3. Don't see a 3 very often. You see lots of 1s.
You do.
Occasional
Occasionally
2s. Don't see many 3s.
3s are pretty nice.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's a die, basically, on the spell. Black Wing totem. A unit with all models affected by the spell gain +3 agility. You can go ahead of Spearman. And adds D3 +1 inch to its charge range.
Especially if you're charging a long way with the D3 +1.
Yes, because it actually adds to your range, not just to your roll.
Correct.
Okay, and an army cannot contain... One more time. An army cannot attempt to cast totem-bound spells of the same kind more than twice during the same magic phase.
At least, yeah. Anyway.
Regardless of which model attempts to cast it. Only one totem-bound spell can affect a unit at a time. Oh, this seems so cheated. The one most recently successfully cast. Champions and characters bear different kinds of totems. Totem bearers. Totems born by champions. Spelled correctly. Contain a single bound spell chosen from the list above, and that must be noted in the army list and have the type caster's unit.
Okay.
So it can only cast on its own unit.
Correct.
And then the greater totem bearers born by characters contain all 4 bound spells from the list above and have type augment range 18, so they can hit anybody out to 18 inches.
They can.
So
totems didn't take any change at all from where they were.
and they still
except
have
for the way bounds work.
they're still bad because each one of them gives you 2 effects
Correct.
instead of just 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What are you saying?
yeah, I'm saying I think there's a lot of good design aspects of this army. I think the totems are still OP.
Well, they didn't change, except for the fact that the way you cast them changed
Yes, that's
slightly.
why they're still OP.
That brings us to their hereditary spell. The Echoes of the Dark Forest. Cast at a range, casting value of 6 for an 18-inch range, or you can boost it to a 36-inch range by casting it at an 8. The downside is that this spell is that the totems are so good you might not take a hereditary spell. Anyway, it's an augment that lasts 1 turn. The target gains terror.
Yep.
All enemy units in base contact with the target suffer -1 discipline. So the way I read this, you gain terror, which gives you fear, which gives the enemy in contacts -1.
Right.
Then this gives you an additional -1 to
Correct.
those enemies, is the way I read this.
That's how I read it.
So,
And if you take they're trying to make it because to give these guys some spells, so you'd want to think about taking the Soothsayer.
Correct.
So
This is a good spell.
this is a very good spell.
I mean, it's not like like the orc spell where where it gives you that awesome reroll to hits. Oh wait, they get those automatically, don't they? Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind. This is a good spell.
That's a very good spell. Special equipment. Okay, for the beast herds. We start with the Hawthorne Curse for 80 points, so it's not cheap. Mauls without ambush only. Hand weapon enchantment, so it's limited hand weapons.
Okay.
Attacks made with this weapon gain magical attacks and devastating charge, +2 strength, +2 AP, so it's kind of basically a lance. The weapon can be used as a shooting weapon with aim 3, hits on a 3, and following profile. Range 18, shots 1, strength 3, 6,
Oh,
AP
bolt thrower.
10, it's a bolt thrower. AP 10, penetrating, reload, multiple wounds D3. This shooting attack never suffers from negative hit modifier. So
So you always hit on 3s.
so before it was just a magic spear, whatever the heck it was. So now it's a hand weapon enchantment. So at least they've limited it to hand weapons. It's the same thing they had before. Yeah, it's interesting that it does both the close combat and the shooting ability.
Right.
You don't see that very often. You do
Yeah.
pay.
Well, it did
good
before. I mean,
yeah, I understand.
yeah, it's just really good.
It's very good.
It's expensive though.
It is. It's okay for the army though.
That brings us to the
The army doesn't have a lot of shooting, so
Right. Brings us to the ancestral carvings for 55 points. Soothsayers only, and you can have up to 3 of these in your army. It's a hand weapon enchantment. Attacks made with this weapon gain +2 strength, +2 armor penetration, and magic attacks. In addition, the wielder gains +2 attack value and distracting while using this weapon.
they really want you to use soothsayers.
They really are pushing you to use Soothsayers because this thing's really good.
It is, because now basically your soothsayer is
3 strength
is
5.
a medium level hero.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah, 3 strength 5, and he's got distracting.
he's a hero with distracting. Yeah, -1 to be hit is nice.
Yeah.
The best way to survive a hit, not to be hit.
That was this army strength for this. So now I'm never going to get something like this. Twin Hungers, 50 points. I can give you an answer. Paired weapons enchantment. So it's only for paired weapons.
Yep.
Attacks made with this weapon gain lethal strike and magical attacks.
Okay.
Whether the wielder rolls a natural 6 to wound with a close combat attack, and this attack successfully causes an unsaved wound, the bear recovers 1 health point at the end of initiative step. No more than 1 health point may be recovered per phase in this manner.
Okay, it's a nice item to keep your wounds coming back.
It's not bad, I guess, for a Minotaur guy or whatever.
I think it's really good for a Minotaur because the longer he's got enough wounds to keep him in combat for a long time.
Yeah, I think there's other ways to get it though, and he still keeps him at strength 5. And there's other things you can do to really make him even scarier as far as offensive capability.
Minotaur strength 6, I believe.
Is he strength 6?
The big guy.
Oh, is he? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, he's tough 5, but strength 6.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the Fatal Folly. It's a
Cute
beast
name.
axe enchantment. Attacks made with this weapon gain magic attacks. For each close combat attack against the wielder that rolls a natural to hit roll of 1, the wielder must perform a close combat attack at the same initiative step. This must be allocated towards the model or health pool that rolled the 1 to hit. So,
First, you have to take the beast axe.
you have to have a beast axe because of that, and then you use this. So you're
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're not going to see this being used.
I don't think you're going to see this much.
No.
It's kind of interesting, but I don't think you see
It's
it
a
much.
novelty, but yeah.
So if you're fighting a Saurian ancient guy and he rolls a 1 to hit you, and since he has that predatory fighter thing and re-rolls that 1 and rolls another 1, do you get to hit him twice?
That's a good question.
Kind of interesting, huh?
Do you get to hit him once because he rolled the 1?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the roll is what the final die is. But,
I would assume that, but yes, it's not clear.
what do you want?
I should scroll so I can read the next one.
Not my problem.
Okay, now we're on the armor enchantments. Agor's Affliction. Oh my. 100 points, not cheap. Light armor enchantment, okay. The wearer gains regen 4 and +1 resilience but automatically fails all of its armor save. So this is definitely for a Minotaur
Yeah.
because you don't have much armor.
You've got a 6-up armor base. I mean, you can get a heavy armor and shield with it,
Yeah,
but
get
go
you up
ahead and get a 4-up regen and
and
tough
re-
6.
and resilience 6. Yeah, that's
Resilient 6.
definitely. Yeah, I
Gonna
think
have to
you'll
move
see.
away from toughness.
You are.
It's nice.
I think that's a nice item.
Brings us to the Trickster's Cunning for 65 points. This is the light armor I think that same Minotaur is going to be taking instead. Successful to wound rolls against the wearer must be re-rolled.
Yeah.
Except you're not getting the regen out of this one. So yeah, it's kind of it's weird. Anyway,
Depends how you want to.
that's the choice you have, I guess.
Well, I think you put the one on the Lord and this one on the hero. So you have some
Oh.
points left for a weapon.
Okay. Yeah,
That's probably the way
possible.
they were thinking about it. Okay, then we have the Obscuring Fog, 40 points. It's a shield enchantment attachment.
Attachment.
Yeah, it's attached the fog to the shield. Enemies in base contact with the bearer suffer -1 agility. The bearer's unit does not benefit from +1 agility for charging.
Okay. It's a plus-minus item. Those are always interesting.
They are interesting. It's better in the following rounds of combat, or if you're going to get charged.
Yeah.
Can't take that and the item above it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can. You can take them both.
Well, if you're on the Lord, you could. Yeah, I'm on the hero.
Oh, and here you
Yeah,
cannot.
yeah.
Correct.
So yeah, on a Lord, you can get your regen and your resilience up,
Right.
and -1 agility. So yeah,
That brings us to the Wild Form. 40 points for a suit of armor enchantment. At the start of the melee phase, the bearer may choose to gain one of the following: +1 strength and +1 armor penetration, but -1 resilience, or -1 strength and -1 armor penetration, but +1 resilience. Effects last until the end of the melee phase. This is an interesting item.
it is.
I'm not sure what I think about this one.
Yeah, I mean, +1 getting up to a 6 is a big deal.
Bumping either the Minotaur or the Beast Lord up to a tough 6, and you're giving up a point of strength. I don't know. If you've got a weapon that's giving you a plus strength, it might be worth giving it up for that.
Yeah,
And it's only 40 points for +1 resilience.
yeah, it doesn't cost much. Yeah, you have to think it through some of the other combinations.
Correct. And moving on.
Brings us to the artifacts, formerly known as trinkets. Dark Rain, 80 points. One use only. This item is automatically activated at the start of the first game turn. If the bearer is not on the battlefield at the time, the item cannot be used. So you can't. You don't want to be ambushing with this guy.
Correct.
Its effects last until the end of the game turn. If the owning player has the second player turn, all shooting attacks suffer -2 to hit during the opponent's shooting phase. If the owning player has the first turn, instead all shooting suffer a -1 to hit during the opponent's shooting phase. So it's
Yep.
the same as it was before.
Correct.
So it's for nerfing shooting armies.
First round shooting, because you
Yeah.
guys don't have much armor.
Yep.
So,
With their toughness 4 and toughness 5.
what's that mean? That brings us to the Pillager icon for 65 points. All friendly units within 12 of the bearer, comprised entirely of razor tusks or single model chariots, excluding characters, gain Vanguard. Okay, there's a lot of ifs, ors, but anyway. Razor tusks and single model chariots,
Yeah.
excluding characters, gain Vanguard. Okay.
So this is what they had before. Just let the chariots move forward.
Yep.
Okay.
Except for the guy who's carrying this.
Except for the guy's carrying it. If he's on a chariot, he might be on foot.
That's true.
Yeah. And the units of chariots. Okay. Seed of the Dark Forest. 60 points. One use only. Right before the battle, during step 7 of the deployment phase, the bearer must place a single forest terrain feature that must be no larger than 10 inches length by 6 inches width on the battlefield, not in contact with any other terrain feature, more than 1 inch away from all enemy units, and with its center within 12 inches of the bearer. All friendly models inside the Dark Forest gain a +1 modifier to their casting rolls for augmented spells and hex spells, and add +1/+1 to the power level of the totem bound spells they cast. So your
that-
totems become 5/9s.
Correct.
So you get a free woods. So 60 points, you get a free woods.
Which
And
doesn't affect your army.
Well, it does because you're all Strider, and people
That's
have
what I'm saying. Doesn't affect
Yeah.
you because of that.
yeah, people have to come and get you in the woods and take the minus. And you get a bonus to your casting. And finally, it also helps your totems.
Yep.
Make them more difficult to dispel.
It's nice for 60 points.
I think it's a little undercosted, but yes, it's
Well, the limit is you have to stay in that forest with your mages to get the advantage of it,
yeah, that's true.
right?
It means your BSB is probably gonna hang out in the woods.
Yes.
'Cause he's got probably got all your totems on him. Yeah, I think it's slightly undercosted, but it's a solid item for the right kind of builds, which depending what you're gonna do with your army.
Brings us to the Inscriben Burin. Soothsayers only. It's dominant. While the bearer has more than half of its
Burns are
base,
often dominant.
while the bearer has more than half of its base inside a forest terrain feature, all friendly units with more than half their footprint inside any forest terrain feature on the battlefield gain MR2.
Wow.
I guess if you're going to use this in combination with the Dark Forest,
Yeah.
it might be worthwhile, but other than that, I think it's kind of conditional
It's conditional. I mean, anytime.
to be using.
I mean, I can't imagine an army that would be tied to the forest to get their special rules.
Right.
Oh wait. Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah. It's definitely conditional. I mean, you'd have to build. I mean, first you have to decide you want a soothsayer. And,
Correct.
And then you're
Rather than totems.
Yeah.
only.
and build around the woods and everything else. But yeah, I don't think you'll see too many of it either. Eye of Dominance, 30 points. Close combat attacks from beast, cavalry, and construct models will always hit the bearer only on a roll of 6. If the attack model is a multi-part model, only model parts with harness are affected.
Right.
So it's similar to before, but it no longer monsters. It's a monstrous thing or beasts.
It's completely different, I don't think. I don't, anyway. This is it's kind of a nice item. Because monstrous calves, only the beasties are only hitting you on 6s.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the way it's written.
Yeah.
I don't like the will always hit the bearer only on a 6.
Yeah.
Anyway, other than that, it's interesting. It's only 30 points.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
It's interesting, but there's other things you're probably going to take instead.
Brings us to the Crown of Horns for 25 points. I guess beasts. There's monstrous beasts.
Yeah.
So,
Are they so-called monstrous beasts or just beasts now?
well, they're beasts with large size, which is the wyvern or whatever.
Right, but they're...
For example.
Yeah.
Only bottom parts with harnessed. I don't know if that has... Anyway. Harness just means ridden for the most part,
Correct.
doesn't it?
Correct.
Anyway. Crown of Horns for 25 points. The bearer, all models in its units, and all units within range of its commanding presence, if applicable, automatically pass discipline tests taken due to primal instinct. Okay. So...
Yeah, this item's broken.
So everybody within 12 of the general automatically doesn't even bother
Correct.
have to
They
roll
don't
that
have to roll- they don't have to roll their 9.
that rerollable 9.
Exactly.
Okay,
The rule's
well,
bad enough. And it's 25 points.
It's 25. It's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points.
It's taking up your magic allotment.
Yeah.
A little over 10% of it. That's tough.
Okay, Banner Enchantments. Banner of the Wild Herd, 50 points. Medium-sized cost. 3 per army.
That's pretty good.
1 use only. Single Banner of the Wild Herd per unit may be activated at the start of each round of combat. For the duration of this round of combat, all wild horns and mongrels in the bear's unit gain +1 strength and +1 armor penetration.
Yes. This was here before, and
It was different before because you only had 1.
well, the difference was it was 1 per army, and it did not work on mongrels.
Yeah. Was it 1 use only?
It was 1 use only.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So you can have 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean it's you get it for one round of combat.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's what it was before, except now you can have multiples.
Yeah.
Because your BSB can carry one of these, your unit can carry one
Well,
of
BSB
these.
can carry 2 of them.
Well, if he doesn't take anything else.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway.
It's only for your core guys. One time, it's no big deal. I think there's other banners I'd rather have.
All right. That brings us to the Army organization, which did not change.
Where'd the pictures go?
They're not quite there yet.
Yeah,
Characters are 40, cores at 20.
they have a low core
No
total.
limit. They do. Terrors of the Wild at
Beast
40.
herds are known for being a lead army.
And ambush predators at 60%.
Yes,
Only 60% of your army can ambush.
can ambush.
So there's a drawback.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, brings us to the first character, the Beast Lord. 215 points. He's a regular infantry on 25 by 25. Advance, like all beast herds, he advanced 5, marches 10. He's got discipline of 9. He's got Forest Rider and pack tactics. There it is. I was wondering where the Primal Instinct's farther down. Primal Instinct. He's got 3 hit points. He's resilience 5 with a defense of 6 and comes with light armor. He's got 4 attacks, strength 5, offensive skill 6, AP 2, agility is 5, and he has the hunting call, universal rule. If a beast lord with this upgrade is the general, ambush rolls of 1 or 2 for units with 1 or more models with pack tactics may be re-rolled unless the only player has the first player turn. The ambush rolls for such units must be made from the controlling player's turn 1, but still at the end of step 2 of the movement phase. So that's the rule that basically allows them to ambush on turn 1 and
You do pay 25 points for that.
give you lots of assurity that it comes on.
Right.
Okay. He can take special equipment of 200, which is normal. He can take a shield for 5, heavy armor for 15. He can take throwing weapons, which hit on a 4 for 5, so strength 5 throwing weapons. That's not too shabby.
Yep.
It's worth 5 points. May take a melee weapon, one choice only. Paired weapons are 10. Lance is 20. Lance. I guess he's always on a chariot.
Yes.
The great weapon, 20. Beast axe, 25. Ooh.
For +1 strength and
Yeah,
go last.
it's getting worse every time. The more I read
But
about
your
it.
defensive skill goes up to 8.
Yeah, okay. May take a mount, one choice only, a raiding chariot, 90 points, a razor tusk chariot for 150, and may take hunting call for 25. Yeah, the beast taxes.
So
I'm
overall,
not a fan.
he's up by 5 points on base.
Okay,
His base is up by 5.
all right,
But you quickly make up for that because his shield is 5 points cheaper.
okay,
Heavy armor is 9 cheaper.
okay.
His throwing weapon is a point cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Lance and great weapon are a point cheaper. Minus 15 for the beast axe. It used to be 40,
Oh my God,
but it used to give you +1 armor, which
is
made
better.
a lot of beast lords walking around at low armor.
Yeah, it was a better weapon before.
The chariot went down by 10. The
Okay.
razor chariot went down by 30.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah, it used to be 180.
that's a
And
nice
the
chariot,
hunting call used to be 40.
and that went down. Okay,
So
so he got cheaper,
he got expensive at the base level, but
5 points, but overall he got cheaper.
you're going to make up that 5 points somewhere in there.
And then some, it sounds like.
Because I think you're right. I think the throwing weapons for 5 points is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You get, I guess you're getting 1 strength 5 hit when somebody
Yeah,
charges you.
depends how you roll. Yeah.
You could roll and get
It's a nice to just annoy people sometimes.
So that brings us to the Beast Chieftain. Advanced 5, March 10, Discipline 8, Strider, Forest, and Pack Tactics. He has 3 hit points, Defensive 5, Resilience 5, Defensive Weapon Skill 5. He has a 6-up armor save, Light armor, 3 attacks. 3 attacks? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Never mind.
he's a hero level.
Offensive skill of 5, Strength of 4, Armor Piercing 1, and Agility 4, with Primal Instincts. Like most heroes, he can become a standard bearer for 50, take special equipment for up to 100, may become a greater totem bearer for 90. You're always going to see a beast chieftain with a
So a
greater
totem,
bearer.
battle standard bearer is 50, So he's paying the 90 points just for the 4 spells.
He's paying 90 points.
Maybe become a greater totem bearer for 90.
Right. So what were we saying about the 50?
Don't you have to be a battle standard to get the... Or not? I don't
think so. Doesn't say
you
so.
have to pay for both?
Yeah, you got to pay for both. Yeah, they're different.
No, what I'm saying is, do you have to buy the standard before you can take the...
No,
Okay, you can just take that?
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't take him unless you'd get probably made... Okay, anyway.
Moving on down through the list, all the common items. Ambushes for 20 and raids for...
So he gets 4 bound spells for 90 points.
Correct.
And a Wizard Master has to pay 225 for 3 spells.
Yeah, but he gets his choice of spells. This guy's limited to only 4.
4 that he gets a choice of?
The 4.
He has no
No,
choice.
he has no choice. He has to take them all.
He has to take them all.
Right.
He has a choice of which ones he uses.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. What are you saying?
I'm saying now.
Um,
What a bargain.
he actually went up in cost by. Actually, no, he didn't. He stayed the same.
Okay.
Yeah, he just had little minor points adjustments in some of his weapons and stuff.
All right.
No big deal. So he's pretty much what he was before.
It was that expensive beast tax again.
Yeah, it's -5 than what it used to be.
It still costs too much.
And yeah, that's about it. And his great weapon got cheaper because it used to be 16 for some reason. But anyway,
Yeah, with all the weapons and enchantments, I think
yeah.
you want paired weapons on them anyway. Okay, Soothsayers, 155 points. Standard infantry, 510 movement, discipline 8. So he's a minus if you have him. He's a general like many wizards are. He's got Strider Force, Pack Tactics. Oh, he gets Pack Tactics too. He's a Wizard Apprentice, and he gets Blood Offering. He's got 3 hit points. Resilience is 5, so he's tough. He's got a defense of 4. 1 attack, like many mages. 4 offensive weapon skill. Strength is only 3. AP is 0, and agility is 3. Yeah, it would be perfect if you had like a magic weapon that was just perfect for him.
You mean one like only he could take?
I don't know, like he could take that.
Oh no, let's give him +2 strength.
+2 strength would be like, they'd be like perfect for
Why
him.
not give him 2 attacks too? Because +2 strength's not good without
I
that.
think so, and some distracting I think would help. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Okay. More graphics missing here. He can have Dudism, Shamanism, or Evocation. All right. Blood Offering, universal rule. A unit that includes at least 1 character with this rule may reroll failed panic tests and decimated tests at the cost of inflicting 1 wound with no saves of any kind allowed to a character with this rule in the unit. Interesting. Okay.
So if you're at the edge of the board and
Yes.
you get hit by a spell and would panic off,
You use this, yes.
take a wound.
If he happens to be
around.
outside of the bubble, yeah. His options are he can be an adept for 75, wizard for 25, which is normal.
Next to are
He,
normal.
he can take a special equipment at 100, 200 if he's a master, which is normal. He can take light armor, which is the thing for most wizards, not all wizards, for 5 points. So he can take armor enchantments. May take paired weapons. Okay, so he can get 2 attacks. And can take ambush for 10 if you want him to, or he can be on a raiding chariot.
Interestingly enough, that beast axe, that soothsayer staff he has
Yeah,
was 55 points, I believe,
yeah,
which gives him +2 attacks, put him up to strength 5
yes,
and AP 2, right?
right,
But it gave him distracting. That was the big thing. Okay.
correct.
I was going to say you can take paired weapons here, and then the hero's heart thing,
Yeah,
and bump him up to strength 5 as well that way.
that's true. And he'd have 3,
AP 3 with 3 attacks.
yeah.
Close to the same thing, but I like the distracting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you could play a soothsayer arm if you wanted to and actually arm him up.
Only 3 of them.
Yeah,
But then you're running out of dice for your totems.
there you go.
That brings us to the Minotaur Warlord. He is a large infantry model on a 40 by 40 base. He is movement 6 with advanced 6 with a march of 12. Discipline of 9 now.
So it's
Went up
boosted.
from 8.
So you can safely take him as your general.
He has Strider Force with Frenzy and Fearless. He has 5 hit points. Defense of weapon skill is only 5. Resilience is 5. and he has a 6-up armor save.
From that fancy light armor.
It's wonderful. He has 5 attacks with an offensive weapon skill of 6, strength 6, AP 3, and agility 5. He has primal instincts.
Why wouldn't he?
He has impact hits D3, and he has battle focus. So any 6s he rolls to hit.
Right.
Double and re-rolling failed to hits means that's more likely.
Yep.
It's kind of nice. He can take up to 200 points. Shield for 10, heavy armor for 15. Paired weapons, which I think is still going to be the weapon of choice for this guy,
Yes.
for 15. Great weapon for 30, and beast axe for 30. The Minotaur Warlord, he did go up by 30 points,
He did, and he's got the new frenzy, which is a minus.
but he gained a +1 discipline, which
now
in
means
itself is close to, if not worth the 30 points.
Yeah.
And while he went up by 30, some of his other stuff,
He lost an attack from the old frenzy, but he got the
did.
battle focus, which is basically the same thing.
and now he gets a roll to prevent himself from overrunning if he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still got to take it at a 7,
Right.
but at least now there's a chance where before it was automatic.
Yeah. Well, he'll be in the bubble, so it'll be 7 twice. So it's
He should be,
yeah.
unless he goes charging out after something
Yeah,
on his
yeah,
own and
yeah.
just wants to destroy it. All right,
Brings us to the little guy, the Minotaur Chieftain.
tiny.
He's tiny. Let's just call him Tiny Minotaur. He's 270 points. He's large. He's infantry, and he's on the 40 by 40. He also goes advanced 6, marches 12, discipline is 8. He's got Forest Rider, Frenzy, and Fearless, like his big brother. Defensive hit points are only 4. Defensive skill is 4. Resilience is 5. Armor save is also 6 with light armor. He's got 4 attacks at offensive weapon skill 5 with strength 5, AP 2, at agility 4. Still has primal instincts, still has impact hits D3, and also has battle focus. He can be the battle standard bearer. He can get special equipment to 100, all regular stuff. He can be a greater totem bearer for 90 points. He can take any of the following: a shield for 10 or heavy armor for 10. May take a melee weapon, one choice only. Paired weapons for 10, great weapon for 25, and beast axe for 20. Why would the beast axe?
Because it gives you +2 defensive weapon skill.
But other times it was more expensive. So sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes it's less expensive. I don't
Then the
understand.
great weapon.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't understand.
Um,
Anyway, it's 20. It's about 10 points too many. So yeah, paired weapons I think is still your choice.
he actually went up by 10,
Went up by 10.
by
Okay.
the way, and the Greatum Totem Bearer thing went up by 10.
Okay.
So if you're going to go that route, he's 10 more for each of those.
Yes, and weapon choices.
All went down,
Okay.
I think. -10 for his shield, but he'd probably have prepared weapons. So that's not going to matter.
What you want?
-14 for taking heavy armor.
Mhm.
-5 for the great weapon, and -20 for the beast axe. I think it used to
Okay.
be 40 for him.
Yeah, so paired weapons stay the same.
Paired weapons stayed the same,
Okay, and they're better on him. Okay.
unless I missed it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
so that's him. So that brings us to Mr. Centaur Chieftain.
Yeah.
For 230 points, he is a standard size cavalry model on a 25 by 50 base.
No more half man,
He is half horse.
half horse. No more half horse.
Half horse and then half something.
Yeah.
It wasn't specified. He has an advance of 8 and a move march of 16. Discipline of 8. He has Strider Force, Drunkard, and Looted Booze. He no longer has Pack Tactics. He has a defensive line of 3 hit points, defensive weapon skill of 5, a toughness of resilience 5, excuse me, 6-up armor save, light armor, and he has 4 attacks at offensive skill 5, strength 5, armor piercing 2, and agility 4, and primal instincts. Can be the standard bearer for 50. Can take up to 100 points. Can be the totem bearer, greater totem bearer for 90.
Yep.
Can ambush for 20. He can take a shield. He can take heavy armor. He can throw stuff at you. He can do paired. We can only have one of the following paired weapons: lance, great weapon, or beast axe. Centaur Chieftain. He lost the pack tactics. His greater totem bearer went up by 10. and his point cost went down on a lot of stuff. +1 for his shield, what it used to be. -9 for his heavy armor, got cheaper. -1 for his throwing weapons, because of the range change.
I guess.
-6 for paired weapons. They used to be much more expensive.
Hmm.
Because I guess it gave him the initiative buff. Buff.
Could be.
His lance and great weapon both went down by 10, and his beast axe went down by 15.
Yes. See, here's the beast axe is more expensive. I miss
Wasn't
the
it expensive there? Oh, it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
It is. I miss it when they had the upgrade that you could make your general the chieftain, and you got a slight bonus.
hmm
I wish they had that.
You know what I bet it is? The beast axe gives you +2 defensive skill, but your defensive skill is lower on this guy.
Okay. I think it matters the higher you are because you're closer to getting that spread.
I mean, because this bumps him only to a 6,
Right.
whereas it's bumping this guy to a 7.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a thought.
Mm.
All right.
Anyway, I miss my my general guy.
You're what?
Back when you could take the general and get more centaurs in your army.
Make Centaur's core,
Yeah.
and you have the army of Centaurs.
Yes.
Yeah, that army's gone. Too bad.
Yep, that is too bad. So, character mounts. We have a raiding chariots. We'll read more about it when we get down there. But 7/7.
Yeah.
It's
That's what it was before.
4 hit points. It's basically the same. It doesn't. Where's the resilience? Oh, it's the same as the character. Interesting. Okay. Strength 5 impact hits, and the warhogs. That's what they're called now. They're strength 4, like your boars on your orcs.
They've always been, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're.
Yeah.
Except they don't get the
They
bonus
don't
for
get
charging.
the bonus for charging.
And then the baby, the Razor Tusk Chariot,
Yes.
7/7 move. It's interesting. The Raider Chariot. I thought they might speed it up a little bit on the march.
So did I.
Yeah.
But I thought that about the wolf chariots from the goblins as well.
Yeah, yeah. Light troops, Strider, Forest, the Swift Stride Hunting Horn. Resilience stayed the same. Gets mount protection 1.
Yeah, it lost a point of mounts protection.
It did, yeah. And the crew is you get one dude, strength 3, big deal with the light lance, and the Razor Tusk. That's what matters. 4 attacks at strength 5, offensive weapon skill at 3,
Right.
which is what makes this nice thing. Agility is only 2, and you get D6 +1 impact hits. Then you get a hunting horn. All friendly units within 6 inches of one or more models with the hunting horn gain +1 to their charge range rolls.
Yes.
That's I wonder why they didn't give that to the raiding chariot.
Hmm.
Maybe it's a nice little roll for the
It
army.
is.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Brings us to the core.
It's a lead army, so they only have 20% core.
Correct. So we'll start with the Wildhorn Herd for 150 points. That gives you 15 models, so it's 10 points apiece. You can add up to 35 more for 10 points apiece.
So they took a nerf because they, according to the boards, because they have increased their minimum size. That's a nerf.
Yeah. They are on 25 millimeter bases, by the way, if you're wondering.
Yeah.
They're movement 5, march 10, discipline 7. They have Strider, Forest, Pack Tactics, and Scoring. 1 hit points each. Defensive weapon skill 4, resilience 4, attack 1, offensive weapon skill 4, strength 3, AP 0, and 3 agility with primal instincts.
Mm-hmm.
You can ambush a unit up to 25 in a unit, up to 2 of those units per army for 20 points. You can take shields for point, paired weapons for 2, throwing weapons for 2, standard champion, musician, standard bearer upgrades at 20 apiece. You can become a totem bearer at 15, your champion can,
Yeah.
for an additional 15.
So 35.
So 35 points for that guy when they're 10 points apiece. Your standard bearer can take up to a 50-point magic enchantment. So overall, like you said, they the base size, I mean, the cost is exactly the same.
Right.
The difference is the minimum now is 15 instead of 10.
Yep.
So the shields got a point cheaper. They used to be 2 points apiece, and the totem bearer upgrade used to be 20 points. So those two things got cheaper.
So it got cheaper.
Yeah.
Paired weapons stayed the same.
Everything else stayed the same. So,
How much does an orc cost?
a big one or a regular one?
Regular.
I think around 10 points, about the
Okay.
same.
I'm just curious.
Which is and he's slower. He has +1 strength in the first round of combat.
Mm-hmm.
But his offensive and defensive weapon skills are only 3, and his agility's only 2,
He doesn't have primal instinct
and he doesn't have primal instinct.
or strider.
But you can't compare one army to another
Sure.
because you're taking it out of context. Because orcs have Born to Fight,
Yeah. Okay.
which is not quite as good as
Yes.
primal instincts. But whatever, it's there.
Can't compare same stats to same stats for same points. Okay.
What are you saying?
I'm saying the same stats should be the same points.
You would think so,
Yeah.
but there's nuances.
Yeah. Mongrel Herd, 140 points. So these are the cheapy guys.
Yep.
20 points. 20 models. May add up to 30 more for 8 points for additional model. Standard size infantry. They're on 20 by 20s. The feel bad for people who actually had beast herds over the years and had to do all the rebasing.
All the
time.
rebasing over the years that
Yeah.
beast herds have done.
We had our one buddy. He never bothered to rebase, so he was okay. They came back around to him. Advance 5, marches 10, so same speed. The Strider, pack tactics scoring. I just thought it would be neat if they gave these guys a 6-inch move instead of a 5, just to make them smaller but lighter,
Right.
faster. Anyway, 1 hit point, offensive 3, resistance of 3, armor save of 6 from their shield, 1 attack, offensive skill of 3, strength 3, agility 3, primal instinct. Those are kind of a human. With
Yeah, he's human stats.
human stats is moves
Except for
faster,
his discipline's down.
and his discipline's down. He's got primal instincts enforced,
Yeah, he's faster, but he's just his
and can
discipline's down.
ambush. But it's similar to a
But
human.
primal instincts makes a huge difference.
Yes, it does. Yeah, he can take ambush for 20 points. For the unit, may take a spear, 1 point per model.
Interesting that this is the one unit I've seen that the spears did not go up in cost in.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at all the army books,
Oh, okay.
to
Yeah.
be honest. But the ones I have looked up, the spears typically all went up in price.
I don't think EOS. I didn't think they went up, but we'll have to look as we go through them. Same upgrade 20, and these little cheap little guys can also get a banner enchantment.
Correct.
I think they may have gone a little too far on the banner enchantments. And then if you ambush, you can only do it with 2 units per army. 2 of these units can be an ambush for a maximum of 30 models each.
Correct. So a
So
total of 60 models.
That's the big change I think they made to limit the ambushing was only the wild horns and these guys only 2 units each. Should be,
Wildhorns were 3, weren't they?
was it 3 or was it 2?
2? 2.
2,
Okay,
yeah. I think it's 2, yeah. So they somewhat limited the ambush. You still got plenty of guys, but
Right. All right, and pretty much across the board they stayed the same, except for now they can take a banner
yes,
enchantment.
enchantment.
So brings us to the Mongol Raiders. 100 points for 10 of them, and you can buy up to 10 more for 8 points a pop. You have 4 of these. They're standard infantry on 20mm bases. Their movement advance 5, march 10, discipline 6. 1 hit point, 3 defensive skill, resilience of 3. 1 attack with a 3 offensive weapon skill, strength of 3, and agility 3. They have primal instincts, and they have a bow that hits on a 4.
Mm-hmm.
They can scout or ambush for 20 points. They can add a champion or musician, but no standard.
So your skirmisher, you get out a musician.
Your skirmishers,
Yes,
which is a big deal now. Much bigger deal than it used to be.
it is.
Because now you can see 360 and charge up, make 190-degree pivot
And shoot
wheel.
and shoot multiple ranks.
Correct. The Mongrel Raiders, the initial price stayed the same. The additional models used to be 10 points apiece. Now they're 8 points.
Maybe this going to be one bigger units.
Yeah, the
With-
bigger unit up to 20 can be cheaper.
Yeah, it's not really that kind of unit anyway.
No, it's a small. And for
Yeah.
100 points for a small unit like that, that's
Yeah, it's just plinky.
really nice.
It's just plinky shooting and
Yep. And
Chaff.
getting somebody's way for
Yep.
100 points, piece of chaff.
yeah.
So
Brings us to the special. They're so special.
they are.
No limit. The first one has the Feral Hounds, 80 points for 5 models. You can add up to 15 more, so you can have 20 for 8 points per model. They're standard cavalry-sized bases. They're beasts. You're limited to 5 units per army. If you take 8 of them, they count towards core. They have an advance of 8 and a march of 16. I think they got sped up.
Used to be 7-14.
Yeah.
Yep.
A discipline of only 5. They're insignificant. No one cares if they run away. They get ambush, of course. They get vanguard, and they get strider force like everything else. Defensive, 1 hit point. Defense value of 4. Resilience of 3. They have 1 attack at strength 3 with offensive weapon skill 4, and aggressiveness is 3. Nice chaff unit for a small unit.
Yeah. They're really nice. I mean, for, what is it, 104 points?
Yep.
It's a core unit of 8.
Yep.
That's movement 16
Yep.
redirector.
And its whole mission is to get in the way.
Yeah.
And it's got the movement to do it.
They're really good at that.
And when they run away, no one cares.
And they pretty much stayed where they were. The only thing difference in this unit was
They're quicker.
the
I don't mind. They were kind of weird that they were slower.
Yep. It brings us to the Longhorn Herd for 170 points. That gives you 10. You can add up to 30 more for 24 points a model.
Mm-hmm.
Standard infantry on 25mm bases. They advance 5, march 10, with an 8 discipline. They have Strider Force, like everything else. Pack Tactics, Bodyguard, which only applies to Beast Lords and Beast Chieftains.
Yep.
They have a 1 hit point, defensive weapon skill of 4, resilience of 4, 5 up armor save, 1 attack at offensive weapon skill of 4, strength 4, AP 1 with 3 agility. They have halberds and primal instinct for that price.
I'm surprised they didn't give the regular guys halberds back like they had in the old days, where people have the old models.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They can ambush.
Instead of those banners.
Up to 2 of these can ambush for 2 points a model. They can replace their halberd with a great weapon free. If you really want to you want to give up that 3 agility.
Yeah.
You can upgrade your champion, musician, standard bearer, all for 20 points each.
Usual.
Totem bearer, the champion can become a totem bearer for 15 additional points. You know, it gets really pricey when you put it on this guy. I mean, it's a 17 and 35 point unit. 40,
Yeah.
like 52 points.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
for a guy with 1 wound. Anyway, and a banner up to 100. So that is the Longhorn Herd.
Yeah.
The only real change they made to these guys, is they added the Beast Chieftain to their bodyguard.
It was a combined profile before.
What's that?
It was remember the old characters, the heroes and the lords were combined.
Oh, correct.
It was a single profile.
So it doesn't change much, but
right.
it's there.
They just spread it out.
And the other difference was, like the other champions, this went down by 5.
So it made the totem
become a
bearer
totem bearer.
even cheaper. Okay.
For the champion totem bearers became cheaper.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, they are more vulnerable.
They're much more vulnerable
No.
than your BSB.
Yeah, no question. These guys are borderline to me because, I mean, the 24 points is an elite infantry price.
They are.
And they've got good
Pretty
stats. They've got good stats, but I wouldn't want to run up against a couple of other things that cost just a couple points more.
Yeah. The first 10 are cheap. 17 points a model.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
That's cheap. It's the rest
For
of them.
these guys with strength 5. You know, AP2.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. But then it gets pricey when you start adding models to them.
Yeah, it's those additional ones that they start going, ooh.
Right. So, anyway, it's interesting. They're still a nice unit.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of interesting units,
Yeah.
brings us to the Minotaurs or Minotaurs, depending on where you come from.
Minotaur.
Yes. 240 points for 3 models. You can add up to 7, so you can have to 10 of them. For 80 points per additional model, so same as the base cost. They're large infantry. You can have up to 5 units in your army on 40 by 40 bases. They move 6 in advance. They march 12. They are discipline 7. They have Frenzy, the new Frenzy. They're fearless, though. They have Scoring, and they have Forest Rider. Defensively, they have 3 hit points at resilience 4 They are defensive weapon skill 3. Those are frenzied. And they have light armor for a 6 armor save. They attack. They have 3 attacks at strength 5, AP 2, with offensive weapon skill 4, and their agility 3. They do get impact hits 1. Why not? They don't. The stomp's not enough. They get primal instinct, and they get battle focus. So they lost their extra frenzy
They
attack,
lost their attack from frenzy.
but they got battle focus as compensation. I think for these
Correct.
guys, I'd rather have the extra attack, but
I don't
That's
think
me.
so. I think I'll give up the extra attack for the battle focus because of the primal instinct.
ah,
You know what I'm saying? With 3 attacks, it should work out about the same,
yeah, I suppose, yeah.
and gives you the chance of rolling 3 6s and getting 6 attacks out of one guy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I suppose.
on average, I think it does about the same, but
I always prefer to, go
Roll
for the
more
Yahtzee,
dice.
to go for the Yahtzee roll. Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Shield for 6 points. Great weapon for 12. Paired weapons for 10. Usual champion musician standard bear for 20. Can have a totem bear for 15, and can take a banner enchantment up to 100 points.
Right. Because it's special. They're
Yes.
special.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, paired weapons are still nice, but shield is actually interesting. Now they have the weaker defensive skill,
Correct.
so they get the parry.
Now they can parry.
Yeah.
Now they went up 5 points a model for the base and add-ons.
Okay.
No real biggie. 5 points a model when you're paying for 3 models. It's not that big of a deal. They lost the defensive weapon skill. Their shields are 2 points cheaper than what they used to be. Used to be 8, and the of course the totem bear, like everybody else, went down by 5. Now see this one. Now you're talking about putting it on a 3 wound model,
Oh yeah, you're definitely taking this
so
totem
it's
bear.
much safer.
Yeah, you're definitely taking this totem bear. Yeah, I think they had a slight nerf overall between the points increase and how
What is
frenzy
kind of
works.
interesting is the shield option now.
It is.
Because that gives you it's nothing to really write home about,
No,
but
no.
a 5-up armor save,
It
but
makes
it does give you parry. And
Yeah.
There's a lot of weapon skill 4 or better out there.
absolutely. No, when
So-
when you've got a weapon skill 3, a parry is a good thing.
Right. So
Only thing is better is a weapon skill of 2. So
yeah, so you pay the extra for the extra attack, or do you go defensive?
yeah,
Yeah. At least they make you think about it now.
yeah, they do.
Where before it was, add the paired weapons and the frenzy. Now you got 5 attacks a model, and that's.
But if you're putting a
really good.
character in with them, you may be tempted to go for the defense and let the character do the heavy lifting. Not that
That's a good point.
not that 3
they
strength
need to-
5 attacks is going to be weak. But yeah,
Or 4 if you do end up going paired weapons.
yeah.
Paired weapons still brings you the advantage of running into a parry unit.
Yes.
You can ignore that.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a choice. It's going to be a
Yeah.
decision you make.
Absolutely.
Before it was kind of obvious. Almost everyone went paired weapons.
Yeah. Yeah.
That brings us to Centaurs, which are 165 points for 5 of them. You can add up to 10 more at 26 points a model. They're standard cav on standard cav bases. You can have up to 4 units. They're advance 8, march 16, discipline 7, strider, forest drunkards, and they are scoring.
Forest drunkards.
They forest drunkards. They have 1 hit point. Their defensive weapon skill of 4, resilience 4, armor save of 5 up. They have light armor and shield. They have 2 attacks with an offensive skill of 4,
Yes.
strength 4, AP 1, and agility of 3 with primal instincts. Now, units of up to 8 can be made to ambush for 5 points a model. That's kind of expensive, but I guess it's only 40 points for the unit.
Well, it's funny that some units pay a fixed price and other units pay per model.
Correct. They can take throwing weapons for 4 points, paired for 4, great weapons for 4, lances for 8.
Light lance is gone.
Standard, no more light lance. Standard command options, totem bearer for plus 15, and a banner enchantment of only up to 50. So they went up. They went up a bit. Their additional models went up by 15,
Oh wow.
which over 5 models, that's what, 3 points a model.
I'm sorry, you said they're additional models.
Their starting models
Okay.
went up. Their 5
Okay.
starting models went up by 15.
Okay.
Got a point cheaper to ambush. Paired weapons actually went up in price by 2. The great weapons went down by 2. And the totem bearer got cheaper. So they're kind of roughly where they were. Not a major change.
Slightly worse only because I guess a few more points.
Right.
I'm still a Senator fan, so brings us to the raiding chariot. So basically the one we saw before, but with an extra dude. Okay, one model for 130 points. You can get up to 2 more in a unit for 110 each. They're large, at construct, on 50 by 100, and up to 4 of them in your army, or 4 units in your army. Oh, I didn't miss this. I didn't notice this before.
What's that?
Raiding chariot units of 3 models count towards core.
Yeah, if you take a unit of 3.
Yeah, I'd never do that, but it's an interesting thing.
It's a nice. I ran that with goblins a few times. It's a nice. It's something people are really scared of.
Yeah, yeah.
No one wants to deal with
No one wants
3d6 impact hits.
No one wants 3d6 impact hits, no question. Still advanced 7, March 7, discipline is 8. Interesting they get a discipline 8.
Mm-hmm.
Swift stride, light troops, and forest stride. Discipline 8. What the heck's that all about? Okay.
It's so they don't have a chance of failing their primal instinct when they're away from the bubble.
Is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay.
because they charge out generally.
Yes.
And, you don't
Yeah.
take a chance of
So
failing.
they're
that.
elite chariots. Okay. They got 4 hit points, defense of skill of 4, resilience of 4, and they still get a 4-up armor save, light armor, mounts protection 2. So they're still rather somewhat bulky. They have 2 different crew, which I think is annoying, and I wish they just standardized on one kind of crew. They have the Walho crew, which has offensive skill of 4, 1 attack at strength 3, at agility 3, because he's got a light lance. And then you have a Longhorn crew, who's got 1 attack at offensive skill 4, but strength 4, but with a great weapon, so he goes last at AP 1.
And then you've got.
And then you have the 2 Warhogs. Each have 1 attack at strength 4, at agility 2.
So you
and
go at
offensive weapon
agility
skill
3, 2, and 0.
Yes, exactly. After you have an impact hit.
Right.
So
at 10.
At 10. So they talk about streamlining. This is a unit that could use some streamlining. I don't think anyone would cry too much if they had 2 Longhorn crew. But any case, it's a as a light chariot. It's a good light chariot.
It's a decent light chariot.
But it's more of a medium
it
chariot.
does not get the
plus
D6
1.
plus 1 impact hits.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other, like, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but
Yeah.
even the goblin one gets that.
Yes. Elves don't.
Elves don't believe in those.
They don't believe in size.
These actually, the additional models came down by 10 apiece. So
Okay.
that unit of 3 costs 20 points cheaper if you're interested.
Yeah. Okay.
From core. Just saying.
350 for a unit of 3.
Yep. 12 wounds at tough 4.
It's not terrible.
4 resilience and 4 up armor save.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Not terrible.
It is light troops, so they can move around,
They can move around.
and they got better leadership than most of your guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. That brings us to the Razor Tusk Herd.
If I ever paint my guys, that might be the unit because I can't do centaurs and core anymore.
There you go. 100 points for this guy. It's 1 model. You can add up to 9 more at 70 points a model. You can have 0 to 3 per army. It's a large beast on a 50 by 50 base. He's an advanced 7 with a March 14. Discipline is only 6, but he does have Strider Forest. 3 hit points with a defensive weapon skill of 3, resilience of 5. Ooh, tough. He has 4 attacks, offensive weapon skill of 3, strength 5, AP 2, agility 2. He has devastating charge, +1 strength, +1 armor piercing. So, Razor Tusk Herd.
I've always loved these things.
They got a little bit cheaper on the add-ons.
Yeah. This is a single model. I haven't seen people play them very much anymore, but
Right.
it's just a great chaff piece.
It's a nice chaff piece.
I mean, it's hard to move. Then you,
Tough 5.
yeah, and then you attack it and it actually hurts you.
It can
So-
fight back.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, it takes out most. It's a chat piece that'll overcome almost any fast cav. I really like these things.
Brings us to the Razor Tusk.
As long as you don't have to use the Pumbaa Gore model that GW came out with.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you like them, why not strap a platform behind them and let it pull them around?
Oh, I like that too.
For the Razor Tusk Chariot.
Yeah.
This thing is 240 points. It's a large construct on a 50 by 100. You can only have 4 of them, and you can't do units of these. That's a shame.
Oh,
that would be interesting.
That's one way of putting it.
They're Advanced 7, March 7, 8 Discipline. They have Swift Stride, Light Troop, Strider Forest, and a Hunting Horn. They are 5 hit points each with a defensive weapon skill of 4, resilience of 5, armor save of 4 up, so no better armor save than the Raiding Chariot.
Correct. Just tougher and more wounds.
Tougher with more wounds, yes. They have a Wildhorn crew.
That's funny.
With a light lance.
So the Raiding Chariots, it's a bigger construction because it's got mounts protection too.
Correct.
But here the
don't
guys,
understand that.
the guys have heavy armor.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Why not give them light armor? Well, they don't want this to have mounts protection too because of characters riding is what it comes down to, I think. Anyway, they have 1 Wildhorn crew with a light lance. They have a Longhorn crew with a great weapon. And the Razor Tusk himself, as we've seen before, has 4 attacks, offensive weapon skill 3 with strength 5, AP 2. And the chassis. This one actually does D6 plus 1 impact hits.
Yes.
And it is inanimate. It's not animated. So, and it has the Hunting Horn, which lets all friendly units within 6 of 1 or more models with Hunting Horn gain plus 1 to their charge range rolls. So what's really interesting is the plus 1 to charge range. All
Yes.
friendly units within 6 is kind of a nice.
Oh, it is nice. And this thing
benefit
is
to this.
basically a small monster.
It is.
I mean, people don't think of it that way, but that's what it is.
Well, what's really fun is if you can combine the little Hunting Horn with the totem that gives you D3 plus 1 charge.
Oh, there you go.
Now you're D3 plus 2 charge.
Yep.
You know, there's lots of neat little things in this army list.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
What are you saying? And this guy actually did get 10 points cheaper. He used to be 250
Okay.
because he lost a point of mounts protection.
Ah, okay. So they toned down mounts protection.
No.
Oh,
He lost a point of mounts protection, but gained heavy armor.
so he had light
I think
armor
he-
mounts protection too, like the other guy
I think
before.
he stayed the exact same.
Okay, why not?
Yeah.
Why change one and not the other? Brings us to the Briar Beast.
Yep.
120 points for a single model, 0 to 3 per army. He's large, he's a beast, and he's in a 40 by 40. He's got random movement of 3d6 and discipline 10. He's got Strider in the Forest, random movement, we said that. He causes fear, he's unbreakable, and he's got the sleeper rule. I love this rule. He's got defense of 3 hit points, resilience of 5, which I think is better than the WGG one. Defense is only 3. He is got D6 plus 1 strength 4 attacks
Mm-hmm.
with AP 1 at agility 2 and offense of 3. Normally, because of some of your other choices, this thing isn't very interesting, but the sleeper
He
rule-
doesn't hit you really hard,
No, he does not.
but he is unbreakable with with defense of
So
5.
you have to focus to get rid of him. He's not just a weak thing. He's got the sleeper rule. The model follows the rules for ambush with the following exceptions. It may enter the battlefield already on the owner's first player turn, but still at the end of step 2 of the movement phase. Okay, so you can't.
That's perfectly clear.
Yeah.
It may enter the battlefield already.
Yes.
Why not just? It may start off.
Okay,
Go
anyway.
ahead.
Instead of rolling a d6 to see if it enters the battlefield, you may choose if it arrives or not. Okay. When the model enters the battlefield, it must be placed completely within any forest terrain feature on the battlefield instead of touching the board edge. If it is not possible to place it within a forest, instead follow the normal rules for arriving ambushers. I love that rule. I wish the Green Knight had that rule.
The
Sleeper rule.
sleeper rule.
Coming out of a terrain feature.
Yeah.
And then you get the caveat of
Yep.
if there isn't one, or if they're all filled up, you can still do ambush. You don't lose the unit.
Yeah.
So I think the rule is really neat, and
It's a nifty little monster for 120 points.
And it makes him a nifty monster because
Yep.
if you got some forest around the war machine or something,
Oh, the opponent's war machine.
and
Yeah.
all of a sudden turn 2, this guy's showing up. Well, turn 1 he's showing
Turn
up.
one,
Turn
he's
2
showing up.
he's
Turn, he's
he's
using his
bumbling
random
in.
movement
Yes,
to
he's
bumble
bumbling
into
into
it.
you. Yes.
Yes. Very nice. That brings us to gargoyles. 5 of them for 145 points.
Gargoyle.
You can add up to 5 more for 24.
Gargoyle.
They are standard infantry on 20 millimeter bases. You can only have 3 of these units. It's interesting.
Okay, gargoyle.
They have advanced ground move of 5, advance 5, march 10, discipline 7. That's a pretty good discipline for a unit like this.
Yep.
Usually those are pretty low.
You know why? Because they're gargoyle.
Gargoyles. They have Strider Forest, Primal Instincts. They fly 9/18, which is written there as well. Why is... Okay.
They do it on all the fly. They do that.
Do they really?
Yes, they put it in a stat and they tell you what the fly is as a special rule.
Okay.
They've lost skirmish,
They did lose skirmish, but
as
that's...
almost all flyers have.
They probably should because they're flyers.
But they did not get hard target.
They did not. Most
Okay.
did not. They have 1 hit point. They're defense 4 with a resilience of 4. They have 2 attacks with an offensive skill of 4 and a strength of 3, AP 0, agility 3. They do have devastating charge to give them +1 strength and +1 AP. And you can scout them for 20 points. That's not a bad option, but they fly, so anyway.
I love these guys.
These guys are really good. They
A fast flying
They
unit,
became-
lots of wounds.
Yeah, they became 5 points more expensive for the unit, which, 5
Yeah.
points, it's a point a model.
I don't care about 5 up, 5 down. Yeah.
And they lost a point of their fly move.
Yeah, slowed them down.
They used to be 10/20s, which is okay, because I think very rare should be 10/20s.
Yeah.
This is a really, really good
So they've nerfed them slightly.
unit. I like this a lot.
But I still like them a lot. I mean, I like flyers. And
I mean, yeah, I would be tempted to scout one. Or buy the scout for it and decide if you need it in the game.
if you need it, because you're all the ambushers. So
But I mean, you're pretty far forward anyway. I mean, the scout in general is going to gain you 6 inches,
yeah.
because most people cover most of the board anyway.
I mean, if you're not planning on ambushing, then yeah, I think it works. But if you got ambushers, I think
Right.
you compensate for it.
All right.
Okay, brings us to the next category, the Terrors of the Wild, which is 40%.
Yep.
The first one we have is so they got lots of big gribblies. The Cyclops, 360 points, a single model. Can have 3 in the army. He's gigantic infantry on a 50 by 100 base. He's got an advance of 7, a march of 14. That's pretty quick for a guy on foot. Discipline of 8. Not bad for a monster. Strider, and he's fearless. No surprise. Defense, he's got 6 hit points at only resilience 5. Defensive weapon skill is only 2, so it's easy to hit. And he's got a 5-up special save because
Right.
he's got an Aegis of
He's got 5 up ward save.
5-up ward save.
Aegis save. Sorry,
Yeah.
I've got to start going with that rule, that name, I guess.
Exactly. And then he's got MR3, so it's hard to cast spells on him.
Yep.
His stats, he's got 5 attacks at strength 6, which is nice, but only offensive weapon skill 2. He's not hitting a lot. AP 3.
Yeah,
Agility
if you have
3.
offensive weapon skill of 2, it'd be nice to have 5 attacks instead of 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Shh. There's no rocks involved with this guy, except for the ones he throws.
Except for the ones he throws.
Yes. Divine attacks, and he get the hurl attack. Oh, he hits on a 4. That's not too
Yep.
bad. Hurl attack, shooting weapon, catapult 4, artillery weapon, range 6 through 36 shots, 1, strength 3, 7 under the hole, but whatever you put it. AP 0, 4 for the main one. Multi wounds, D3 clipped wings, magic attacks, divine attacks. A Cyclops that only pivots and moves no further during its movement phase, ignores the hit modifier for moving and shooting. Oh, okay, it's nice that they spelled that out.
They did.
So you have an expensive rock thrower
You have an expensive rock thrower.
that
Yes.
light cavalry doesn't want to fight.
Like Cavalry wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And if you really want to, you can run this into something and stomp on them.
Yes, and hope they don't kill you and while you're fighting them with your weapon
Well,
skill
you're
too.
T5 with a 4-up Aegis save.
Yeah, 5-up.
Yep. That brings us to the...
I'm not. I think we still need some work.
I think it's pretty good.
I think it still needs some work.
I mean, just go down for a minute. The giant is 300,
Yes.
and he is roughly the same stats as a giant. I mean, 6 hit points. He's faster. He's got 6 hit points and 5 resilience, same as the giant. This guy's got an Aegis save of 5. He only costs 60 points more. 60 points more, that Aegis save alone is worth that. He doesn't attack as well, but he can throw rocks. So, I don't know. I think he's pretty good.
You're either throwing or you're fighting. I don't know.
Right. You just throw stuff until they get close, then fight them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's okay. Because it is 360. It's not 400. I mean, I'm paying... Orcs and goblins are paying 200 for a rock lobber that does the same thing.
Oh, I understand.
Except I can't go charge something.
That's true of all. Always a difference between monster war machines always have
Correct.
that duality to them, but
Yes.
the
Anyway. So I don't know. I think it's good.
yeah, I think it's just slightly off still.
Okay. That brings us to the Gortak, speaking of slightly off. He has 470 points. He is gigantic infantry on a 50 by 100 millimeter base. You can have 2 of these in your army. He is advanced move of 7 with a march of 14. He's got a 9 discipline. That's so he can fight on his own with his primal instinct.
Yep.
He is Forest Strider. He's stubborn. He's frenzied. He's fearless. And he has strength from flesh.
Yes.
He has 6 hit points. He's got a defensive weapon skill of only 3. He has a resilience of 6, so he is hard to hurt. He has 6 attacks. He has offensive weapon skill of 4. He's strength 6, AP 3 with a 3 agility. Primal instincts, so for the most part he's re-rolling those because he's leadership 9. He has D3 impact hits. He has lethal strike, and he has battle focus.
Yep.
He has strength from flesh. Whenever a Gortak inflicts an unsaved lethal strike, rolling a 6 to wound with close combat attacks, the attack gains multiple wounds D3. If this attack successfully causes 1 or more unsaved wounds, the Gortak recovers 1 health point at the end of the initiative step. This is new. No more than 1 health point may be recovered by each Gortak per phase in this manner.
Yes.
So, looking at this total thing, he is actually 40 points more than he used to be.
Yeah.
He lost an attack from Frenzy.
But he got battle
He
focus.
lost a defensive weapon skill from Frenzy.
Yes.
He did gain battle focus, and the big thing he gained was multi-wounds D3 when he rolls a 6.
Yes.
That was not there before.
Right.
And then the big minus, of course, is no more than 1 health point can be recovered by each Gortak per phase.
Which was a needed change.
Which come in, does multiple wounds, and all of a sudden he's back up to strength. Overall he got more expensive.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
And a little nerfed.
I think they nerfed him. I think they
But
double nerfed him.
the multi-wound D3, though, is a buff.
It's a buff, but you still got to roll 6.
He's got to roll 6 for it.
I mean, on average, you're going to do that every turn.
6 to wound, not to hit.
Oh, yes. So every other turn.
Although you're probably hitting 6 times with
Primal instinct.
with primal instinct and battle
Sure,
focus, you're probably going to roll at least 1 6, and it'll bump you up.
Like 27 wounds.
Yeah.
No, I think it took a slight nerf overall.
Overall, I think he did.
Because he's not as resilient. And
remember, this guy has no save of any kind.
he's got no save. And Frenzy, I don't think hurts him as much because he pretty much wants to be fighting all the time.
Yeah, and as a single model,
And
getting
single
hit on
model-
the flank or rear really didn't bother him that much.
Yeah, you can
Because he's stubborn.
exactly. And he's got a 9, so I think they might have. I'm just trying to compare him to a Tree Father, which is 480 points.
Right.
So yeah,
Well, he doesn't have a crush attack like your Tree Father does.
that's true. That's true.
So, and he doesn't have Strangle Root. This guy's just trash compared to that guy.
He's more vulnerable. I think that's
got no saves. You guys, you've got 2. You've got an armor and a ward save.
You're
Aegis
right.
Save.
You're right. You're right.
You're just so much better.
Yeah, I won't go that far, but
So much better.
Yeah, I think maybe they didn't. They raised his points maybe slightly too much, but
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, I still like him a lot.
Moving on, we come to
That Jabberwock can't be a Jabberwock. He's got to be a Jabberwock.
yes,
370 points. Single model, gigantic beast, 50 by 100, only 2 per army. He's got a ground movement of 8 and 16. He's got a fly movement of 8 and 16.
doesn't care.
Doesn't care. He's got a discipline of 8. He's got Strider 4. He's got we said fly already.
I don't like how they list that
Yeah,
twice.
yeah, I don't know. But
For some reason,
Fearless,
it's bothering me.
He's got the Aura of Madness.
Yes,
Maybe they
it
should
does.
put the fly rule all through the profile so you can understand what the Aura of Madness is. He's got a defense of 5 hit points, only resilience 5, 4 defensive skill, armor save of 4 up from an innate defense 3.
Okay.
He's got 4 attacks at strength 5, AP 2 with offensive weapon skill 4, at agility 3. There are poison attacks. He does have a breath attack at strength 3, AP 2. Oh, AP 2 is nice.
It's a nice breath weapon.
He used to have that spit thing. He attacked one guy.
Right.
Yeah. Then he has the Aura of Madness special rule. Enemy units within 6 inches of 1 or more models with the Aura of Madness suffer -1 discipline.
Yes.
His big thing before, and I guess it's still the case, is, and now that you have that spell, you really try to make this a leadership bomb
You
army.
can do a leadership bomb with this guy as
Yeah.
a spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
You have to keep him alive, though.
he used to be 320 points,
Oh, they raised his points.
but he used to pay 50 for the breath weapon.
Oh, okay.
So basically, if you
So it's the same.
took the breath weapon, your points are exactly the same.
Okay.
But a lot of people, I would think, ran him without the breath weapon just for the leadership bomb part of it.
Yeah, I'd keep him cheap.
But anyway, so that was his change. Just in the point spread, he
Yeah.
took away the option of the breath weapon.
I mean, I like him. I think he's a situational beast.
He's still nice. 4 up armor save,
I mean,
no ward save.
for a big Gribbly, he's a little vulnerable.
He
But
is. I will agree with that.
yeah,
That brings us to the Beast Giant.
you're a favorite.
Talk about, I'm loving seeing Giants back in. Oh, Giants are 7 and 14.
Yeah.
Anyway, Beast Giant for 300 points. He's a gigantic infantry. You can only have 3 of these. 50 by 75. He's advanced 7, March 14. Discipline is 8.
Mm-hmm.
He has Giant C, Giant Do,
Yep.
which is just the universal rule. that
Giant
he
dew is that means
duplicates.
like giant.
Yeah,
like
you don't want
it's
anywhere
not,
near.
It's not like giant dew on the ground.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
He has 7 hit points, defensive skill of 3, resilience of 5, armor save of 6, because he has an innate defense 1.
Oh baby, don't use that all up.
It's like, why bother?
Yeah.
He has 5 attacks and offensive weapon skill of 3. He is strength 5 with AP 2 and agility 3, and he has rage. He's very
Yes.
angry. He has Giant Seed, Giant Dew. In this case, that means he gains Drunkard and Strider Forest. At the end of a friendly movement phase, if the model is in contact with a forest terrain feature, it may lose its current weapon and gain Uprooted Tree. So it can trade its weapon off.
Ah.
The Rage rule means that for each health point the model currently has below 7, it gains +1 attack. So for every wound it's taken, it gains an extra attack. Can take a giant club for 30. He can take Red Uprooted Tree for 10, and a beer barrel for 20.
Or you could pay 30, get your club and drop it for a 10-point weapon later.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
Or the beer barrel.
you can't pick that one up.
Well, you can
Oh,
start
you
with the beer barrel
you
and
can
pick up
drop
a
it and then
tree.
pick up a tree. There you go.
So attacks made with the giant club gain +1 strength and +1 AP.
Yep, making him strength 6.
The uprooted tree hit automatically and have their strength set to 5 and their AP to 0. That's interesting.
It's interesting, but I'm not a fan.
Really? Auto hits?
Yeah, I don't like the 0.
Okay.
I don't like the penetration 0.
I kind of like that. The beer barrel is a shooting weapon with the bearer gains looted booze. Once per game, the weapon may be used as a shooting weapon with the following profile. Range 8, 1 shot, strength 4, AP 0, area attack 3, reload, hits automatically.
Mm-hmm.
After being used as a shooting weapon, the bearer loses looted booze. So for 20 points, I've got an 8-inch shooting attack that hits 9 guys, up to 9 guys. At string 4.
Once.
It's actually not bad. Because you take that and then you go grab a uprooted
Grab a
tree
tree later.
and start going auto attacks.
I guess that's how you have to use it, yeah.
I'm actually kind of I think I might try the beer barrel. Anyway, that's the giant.
Depending on who your opponent is.
It does. But you don't have that. Going into a tournament, you don't have that choice.
That's why I don't like. That's the thing. It can be good depending on who your opponent is.
Yeah, I can see that. But he doesn't say it's automatic reload.
I'm
Okay.
not gonna be happy when that heavy cav walks up to me
No, when you're only string 5.
and starts swinging at me with their great weapons or whatever.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for the Beastmen. We covered everything there.
Yeah.
I think it's still a very solid army.
I think it's
They
still a top tier army.
They didn't affect totems. I think the Gortak took a little bit of a hit.
It did.
Other than that,
And I'd argue the Minotaurs took a slight hit
because of the frenzy,
because of new frenzy rolls.
that could be.
Yeah. But they still have their primal instinct and they still have their totem and all that stuff, and that's
Totems are what makes this army.
Yep.
Totems and primal instinct.
So it makes it so powerful. Yep.
It is.
And to a certain degree, the ambush rule, how it works for them.
Yes.
But I mean, that one fits the army a little more, and they've limited. I just wish they'd limit the totems a little bit.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for Beastmen.
Okay. Till next time.
Thanks for listening.